Personal finance can be a very difficult thing to navigate and to learn about. And it's something that the US school system has failed to do, to teach students and to teach kids about personal finance, investing, building wealth, and saving for their retirement. So because of that, I thought it'd be interesting to go over some things that I wish I would have learned about personal finance earlier on. So without further ado, let's get started. So for those who are new here, my name is Sarah and I am a software engineer, and this channel covers all things engineering, personal finance, and personal development. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with the actual video. The very first thing that I wish I would have known about finances is the value of a dollar. All throughout high school and most of college, I never actually worked. I never had a job. I never understood what it meant to work for X amount of hours and get paid that amount of money. Because of that, I took it for granted. I didn't really purchase anything that wasn't from my own hard work. The closest thing to working for money was going door to door with my friend and my brother and mowing lawns. At the time, it was more of just a social thing. It was a way for me to hang out with my friend more than anything else, rather than make any sort of money or to save that money. The other thing is that my family never really struggled with money. They were able to provide me with the things that I needed or wanted. And I didn't realize this until second or third year in college when I was an intern. I realized just how intense it is to work and how much I would actually need to save in order to retire so I don't have to work anymore. However, I wish I would have learned this sooner, probably when I just started high school or midway through high school, because I had the time and I could use that time to maybe have a part-time job or do freelance work, so that I could save that money and invest it earlier on. So that's number one, is I wish I would have known about the value of a dollar sooner. The next thing I wish I've learned earlier on about personal finance is investing. So this is something I learned about at the same time that I learned about the value of a dollar when I was an intern. I didn't really have a good grasp as to the difference between investing and speculating. So it took me another year or so to realize that day trading is not investing. That's speculation and that's pretty much gambling. Whereas investing is long-term holding of index funds, whether it be stocks or bonds. The point is that you hold it for long periods of time, at least 20 to 30 years, in order to see any sort of return on the money that you invested. I did wish I would have learned it maybe my senior year of high school, so that any money that I did receive, I could then invest it immediately and I would have an extra 4 years to have it grow in the stock market. And I'd be that much better off later on and be that much more financially stable. The next thing I wish I would have learned sooner is budgeting. I never really had an issue with spending too much. However, there was a time when I was younger where I didn't really care about what I spent my money on. I would spend it on clothes if I needed to, on events, and I didn't really give it a second thought. I was like, okay, well, these shoes are $80. That's great. I like this brand. I don't really care how much it costs. And then other things were certain clothes that were name brand that I just thought looked nice. And I didn't care that they were $40, $50. I didn't really understand how much that was. Again, it goes back to number one. I didn't really understand the value of a dollar, so I just kind of spent the money that I had, or my parents covered me for what I did spend money on. However, if I would have known about budgeting and realized how much $60 is for a shirt, I probably wouldn't have bought that shirt. The other thing is that even though it wasn't a lot of stuff, the stuff that I did get, I only used once or twice and then that was it. So it ended up being a waste of money, because you want to buy something or purchase something that you'll use frequently and for a long period of time. The next thing I wish I would have learned about earlier on is taxes. For me personally, I never fully understood what it all entailed. And so I was very, very confused when I first did my taxes, and I was very overwhelmed. I was worried that I wasn't doing it right. However, it wasn't as difficult as what I had anticipated, but it's still something that I wish I'd have learned about sooner, probably in high school. And it's something that I really think that the school system failed to do. Taxes are something that is very difficult to learn because it can be very tedious, it can be very boring, but it's very important as well. So it's something that I really wish I would have learned sooner. Even though it didn't really affect me negatively by not knowing about it, it would have made the filing taxes much easier to do. And just having that knowledge is good in general, because you'll be more aware of, like, if you make a certain amount, how much that needs to be set aside. If you decided to have your own business earlier on, you need to know all of those things so that you don't get in trouble with the IRS. And so the very last thing I wish I learned sooner is that you don't need a new car. Now, when I was in high school, I was using my parents' car. It was a 2001 Toyota Camry. I didn't have any issues with it. There was no problems. It was working fine. It was just something that I didn't really even think about. I actually wasn't really interested in purchasing a car. However, it was really old. This was in 2015, 2014, and this was a 2001 car. So it was almost 15 years old. When I got my internship in college, it was across town. And so because of this, my parents suggested that I get a new car so that I'm able to travel across town without any issues or worry about the car breaking down, because it wouldn't be as old, it'd be a new car. And so in my mind, I'm like, okay, yeah, that sounds smart. That's a good idea. I ended up purchasing a new car under my name, taking out a loan of about $24,000. We thought it was also a good idea because it would help build my credit score to have a loan on the car. Even though, yes, that is true, it's something that wasn't necessary at all. I could have easily built up my credit by just using my credit card frequently and then paying it off. I didn't have to go in debt to buy a car. I didn't have to take out a loan to buy a car. So I just wish I would have known that sooner. It's something that really, it still irritates me to this day. Luckily, the internship covered that, but it's something that I really, really, really regret, because I could have saved that money and I could have invested it. However, there were upsides to this decision, and it's that the car itself was really good on gas. It was a 2015, 2016 Honda Civic hatchback. It was a more reasonable price than the other cars that I was thinking about getting, which was a Jeep, which was close to $40,000 instead of $24,000. So I'm glad I didn't do that, but it was more of an affordable car considering it was brand new. And then the last thing is that I own it now, and it's still working just as great. There's no issues with it whatsoever. I haven't had to need any repairs on it or anything like that. But that's a huge, huge thing that I wish I would have learned sooner, is that you don't need a new car. You can easily use a used car and you'll be fine. So those are all the things that I wish I would have known sooner about personal finance. And if there's anything else that I failed to mention, or that you had learned, or you wish you would have learned sooner about personal finance, please leave it in the comments down below, and I could definitely make a part 2 of this video. I hope you guys like this video, and if you found it useful or helpful in any way, please give it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see similar videos, please subscribe. And yeah, thank you for watching. Bye.